Hey folks, I thought I'd do a video just because something occurred to me today. Rather interestingly, I bought a newspaper. I haven't bought one for a long time, but I decided to buy a newspaper, and there wasn't much choice where I was buying the newspaper, so I ended up buying the Times. And basically, it was going on in lots of places about how terrible people who have not had, and I'm going to call it the medical procedure in your arm, are. What a scourge on society, and the way it's going, that people who have not had said procedure will start to be outcasted. I can see it coming very, very clearly. And I got around to thinking about all the times recently that I have been feeling like, because of the choices you've made, that makes you a terrible person, and how ridiculous it is, and what prejudice there is in this world. So I got back to thinking about when I was at school, and we did, in our days, it was either O-levels, which were called GCSEs, or CSEs. And if you got a CSE grade 1, it was equivalent to an O-level. And I hated maths. But I did do, and I think I got unclassified in the O-level maths because I'd just given up by the time we did O-levels. But the CSEs, you did them at the start of the exam season. And I could have got a grade 1 CSE, except the last question, which was worth 25 points because it showed you how many points it was very easy, and I knew how to do them. It was called a Venn diagram. And I don't know if you know what a Venn diagram is, but it's when you say these many people have this, these many people have that, and you end up in a circle of sort of like 1 or 2, or how many people. Say these people eat meat and they like the colour purple. These people eat meat and they like the colour purple and they've got green eyes, for example. Anyway, so I didn't get my GCSE or O-level or CSE grade 1 because I'd spent too long faffing about, drawing lines under everything else, making it look pretty. Ran out of time. So I'd lived with the first thing of being a person who's not got maths O-level. And maths O-level is something that a lot of people think that you should have, so I haven't got maths O-level. And then I was thinking about all the other times recently, particularly, where I have felt marginalised or put into a scorn box or a judgment box because of choices I've made. One of the ones was that for years I used to read the Daily Mail, going back a few years now. Well, I did used to read it up probably now and again up until a few months ago, occasionally, and other papers, because I used to sit in this cafe for a long time. There's a choice of all papers, but for a long time my paper of choice was the Daily Mail. It just was the price. It was, I used to like the female pages. It used to have interesting articles in there about surveys and research things that people had done, and the Money Mail was a good page. But the Mail is much maligned as being a horrific paper, and I don't know how many people you said to me, "Oh God, you can't read the Daily Mail," and it annoyed me. I thought, I'll read what I want to read. Just because I read the Daily Mail does not mean I'm a right-wing fascist. I know that there was lots of stories in there trying to brainwash you against immigrants or whatever. But just because I read it doesn't mean to say that I was one of those people. To the extent that even one of my daughter's friends said to her, "Oh, I can't believe your mum reads the Daily Mail." So we've not got maths O-level, and we were a Daily Mail reader. And then, of course, the next thing that came along was Brexit. And I voted for Brexit. Not because, again, I hate immigrants or anything like that, or because I want to be a fascist or any of that. No, because those of us who were around a bit longer remember things like butter mountains and wheat mountains. And the real reason, or not the real reason, but one of the main reasons why I voted for Brexit was because in England, if you went on holiday or generally driving around, you'd see lots of signs outside in the past that would say honey for sale. And there was loads of small little sort of independent home businesses making honey. But you don't see that anymore. And that, I believe, is largely due to the fact that a few years ago now, as far as I'm aware, this is what I believe, that the EU stated that if you were going to sell honey, you had to state on the packaging of the honey jar that it was not GMO, that your bees had not been anywhere ingesting genetically modified pollen. And lots of other hoops that these bee producers had to jump through. And I'm sure it killed a lot of bee producers. And bees are a very important little thing, you know, in the whole system of the eco-structure. And I just thought, why should someone in, you know, far away, like in the EU, tell all these little bee manufacturing honey people not to make honey, or you've got to package it like this? I voted for Brexit because I wanted, probably ridiculously, or in a, you know, in a fairy tale world, to think, no, we want to get back to sort of localism as opposed to bigism, if you like. That's why I voted for Brexit. And then I voted for Jeremy Corbyn. I like Jeremy Corbyn. He seemed to me to be one of the most genuine politicians around at the time. But he at the time was painted, I believe, in the media as a terrible, let's just say, a communist. He got links to, and he was an anti-Jew person, so they said, and he was a terrible person. So what I'm saying is, you know, now we're getting a picture of a person who's pretty bad, and that's me, because I used to read the Daily Mail and I voted for Brexit. Oh dear, Brexit voters have been much maligned. You know, I remember reading something there again in the paper a little while ago, a few years ago now, we're in the major thrust of Brexit, that people in dating sites would not want to date anybody if they'd voted for Brexit. You know, and the Brexit voter has been painted as uninformed, you know, blah, 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 blah. In other words, it's not popular. And now the latest thing is the people that don't want the thing in your arm. I'm not going to say what it is, obviously, because of censorship and all the rest of it. I just don't want it. I don't want it. I just don't want it. I don't take any kind of medicines as a rule very often. I think in the last year and a half, I've probably had 3 ibuprofens, whatever it's called, and that's it. I don't take paracetamols. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do have fizzy vitamin C tablets, to be fair, I do, and I do smoke. It's my choice. I do not want, for all the reasons that we all have, for whatever reasons, I don't want it. I don't want that pharmaceutical unknown in my body. And what a sorry, sad state of affairs we've now come to, where, you know, anybody that knows me in real life probably thinks I'm quite a nice person. I think I'm quite a nice person. I don't go around trying to be horrible to people. But I do feel like now, if I was in a Venn diagram, I would be, you know, in a terrible place, really, where it's like, crikey, she hasn't got maths O-level, she used to be a Daily Mail reader, she voted Brexit, she voted for Jeremy Corbyn, and now she doesn't want the medical procedure. So, yeah, that's prompted me really to do this video and to say, you know, it's a sorry state of affairs, isn't it, when people start judging everybody, really, on their own assumptions and their own beliefs. And, yeah, there's nothing more to be said. I'm not going to start ranting on about why I don't want it, but it is my choice. And all of the things that I've spoken about, even failing maths, GCSE, to get grade 2 and not grade 1, was my choice to have spent all that time underlining, you know, with pretty red pens and things, and making all the previous questions look pretty. If I'd have just bish-boshed it, I'd have had grade 1 CSE. I'd have had a maths O-level. It's my choices. And at the end of the day, I don't understand how it is, if you can still contract said disease and infect other people with said disease, why is it then that you are a selfish person, which Michael Gove, I've read on the BBC website earlier, has said, if you do not have the medical procedure in your arm, you are a selfish person. So we've come to a sorry state of affairs, people, where actually having sovereign over your own body and what you choose to put in it or not put in it is deemed to be, you know, not your choice and makes you selfish. So anyway, that's the video for today. All we can do is press on, try and think positive, create your own reality, and yeah, onwards and upwards. Bye.